So I'm here with Emma, and lots of our clients know us. They know us well. They know the nature of our work. Lots of them don't. To us, of course, the work becomes obvious. The nature of the work becomes obvious. But I know one of the things we've been talking about lately actually is going back to a kind of one-on-one, going back to basics. What is it like to be coached by 4D, to be in a training course with 4D? And you and I have both come to 4D, which, when I began working with Philippa and Penn, which was about 5 or 6 years ago, and you began doing this work maybe 3 years ago as well.
Yeah, on a more regular basis.
Yeah. And we've both got actually quite different backgrounds. We've got some similarities, some bit of theatre crossover, but I sort of director, so theatre director, as well as 20 years in business. You have, well, you say what your background is.
Well, it's danger of becoming the match.
I know, sorry.
Right, wasn't it? So my background really is a psychologist, but also as a teacher. And so coming to the work that 4D do, what was really interesting to me was just how much it embodies what we know to be really effective when we're thinking about education for young people, which is that experience and the opportunity to practice, the opportunity to get it wrong, the opportunity to get really good quality specific feedback, where we would do that automatically and naturally with children, particularly young children where I was teaching. And then as we move through the education system, the process by which we educate people becomes very, very different. We sort of move to a model where we're sat down in rows, often not working with people, listening to a teacher, making our own notes, and then we go away and we think about it, or we write an assignment or do a little video project, whatever that is. But there's much, much less of getting it in your bones, having the opportunity to practice in the room with someone that really knows what they're talking about, in the same way that infant children get in their education. And one of the really special things about the work that 4D do is that we go back to that.
Yeah.
And that to me is just revelatory, really.
Yeah.
Because I don't think many people approach education, which is ultimately what the experience of 4D is education, in that way for grown-ups. And I think it's amazing.
Yeah, I think one of the things which first strikes people when they come into a room with us, normally, is that there are no tables in the room. We tend to have the chairs in a horseshoe so that people come in and a lot of times they're bringing their laptop, sort of expecting to put their laptop down, maybe to take notes, but also perhaps to do some multitasking during this training, where they're going to listen to a couple of experts for 8 hours, and they are very quickly disabused of that notion. And we work in a very different way, as Em says, a lot of experiential, a lot of doing, a lot of play.
Yeah.
We always want our work to be full of a lot of laughter, and always with some depth behind it. So, and your background also, as you said, psychology, which absolutely, particularly Penn and Philippa both share. But also, we want things to be very useful. We want things to be absolutely tangible. So, whilst we do want to play, we want to have some fun, we want to land it in science, we also want things that people can simply do.
Yeah.
And I think my experience in business, experience of running business, but many of the team have got experience of working in corporate, is we know people are busy, right?
Yeah.
So the tools have got to be simple that you can land them.
Yeah, and they always are. And as you say, we start from a point where we might have a game or something, but it's always a touchstone to something that is landed in the world in which the clients are coming from. And we give people an opportunity to play, but then to practice those real world scenarios.
Yeah.
So that the first time you use it out in the real world isn't the very first time you've used it. You've had an opportunity to have a go and get some feedback from your colleagues, but also from experienced trainers.
Great. So, experiential, fun, very tangible, very simple to use, and education, the way that actually works, rather than sitting and listening to a couple of experts for a few hours, getting it up, getting it in the body, getting that experience.
4D Human Being, developing the communication skills, leadership and well-being of your people.